Aloha y'all, welcome to my channel, The Socially Awkward Chef. One of my favorite soups is matzo ball. It's like a warm hug in a bowl, and who doesn't want that? But before I get started, if you're new to this channel like I am, please like, share, and subscribe. That being said, let's get cooking. We're going to start by combining our dry ingredients together in a bowl. So I've got a half a cup of matzo meal. Put that in there. I've got 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder and 1/4 of a teaspoon of onion powder. So pop that in there. 1/4 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. And then I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of salt, as well as 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I am just going to combine these together just so they're all incorporated, and then we're going to go and work on our wet ingredients next. Just going to set that to the side. And here I have 2 eggs. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of chicken stock, as well as 2 tablespoons of schmaltz, which is chicken fat that I rendered from my roasted chicken. There. And then we're just going to whisk this together. Get the salt out of the way. And what you're looking for is that white and the yolk and everything to be mixed together so it's not so separated and stringy. So I'm going to be whisking for about 30 seconds. And if your bowl is shallow, you can go ahead and tilt it like I am. And that kind of gives you a little bit more surface area to work with. Let's give it a tilt. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, so bringing back our dry ingredients. And now we're just going to pour wet into the dry. Set that aside. I'm just going to mix this together. Now you do not want to overmix because we want to keep our matzahs light and fluffy. So just like muffins or pancake mix, you don't want to overdo it. And also, as you're combining this, if this looks a little bit too wet, you can always add just a little bit more matzo meal to it. And I would do it about 1 teaspoon at a time just so you don't overdo it. And this looks a little bit wet. If you can kind of see, it still doesn't look like it's going to come together. So I'm going to add another teaspoon. All right, that's about 2 teaspoons. There we go. Much better. So now you can see that kind of stiffened up a little bit more. So now I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of freshly cut dill. If you don't have fresh, dried is fine. And if you're using dried, use maybe 2 teaspoons because dry dill is a lot more intense than fresh. Okay, and I'm just going to mix that just a little bit more. Okay. looks like we are good to go. Just going to clean off my fork, cover this up with some plastic wrap, pop it in the fridge for 30 minutes, and when we come back, we're going to make matzo balls. While we're waiting for our matzo ball mixture to cool down in the fridge, we're going to get started by getting our veggies prepped for our matzo ball soup. So typically I do 3 carrots, 2 stalks of celery, and 1 small onion. But celery was a little small and I had a giant onion, so we're just accommodating in doing it that way. So first things first, let's get our onion chopped. We're going to do a small dice. So by doing that, I'm just going to take my half an onion and cut it across, down. Size-wise, this is about a 1/4 inch dice. It's going to be soup, so if you chop your onion, it doesn't matter. It does not have to be pretty. It's all good. So use as much of as possible. Alright. If I just see any big pieces, I'm just cutting them down. That one. Okay, I'm just gonna scoop this onto a plate. Okay, next up is going to be the celery. I've already cut the tops and the bottoms off of these. So we're just going to cut these into about somewhere between 1/4 and a 1/2 inch. Because we don't want them too skinny, and we also don't want them like big old pieces for stew, because we've got some soup going on and we want to have a nice mouthfeel to all the veggies. That off. Same with the carrots. Since carrots aren't always even in size, we're going to adjust that by the way that we cut them. So they might be a little bit bigger here towards the skinnier bit. And then as we get up to the thicker part, I'm going to cut them just a little bit thinner, so everybody ends up cooking at the same time. All right, just going to clean up my shrapnel. So veggies are cut. Over here I've got some chicken that we pulled from the remnants of our roast chicken. And then behind me I've got our soup stock that we made from our roast chicken video. So we're going to put that all together in just a few minutes. It has been about a 1/2 hour, so I am ready to roll. I'm going to get started first by getting my hands a little bit wet. This is just some water. You don't want them soaking. I'm going to grab a spoon, and we're going to try and make 8 matzo balls out of this. So we are looking for about ping pong ball sized. So about yay big. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh. Now that we have our matzo balls all rolled out, I'm going to pop them in the fridge for a little bit while I get a large pot and fill it halfway full, actually a little bit over halfway full with water, and put it on the stove with high heat and let it come up to a boil. And then we're going to get our matzo balls in next. All right, so we've got our water boiling here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is salt my water lightly. You don't want too much. That is about a tablespoon of salt. And we're just going to give this a little zhuzh to dissolve the salt. Go ahead and add your salt in when the water is boiling, not before, because you don't want to pit your pots. And what does pitting mean? It just means it's going to jack up the bottom of your stainless steel. So water's boiling. The matzo balls are going to go in one at a time. Try not to get them to bang into each other when we're putting them in. They're going to start to float. Immediately we are going to turn our heat down to simmer, which should be 2 to 3 on your stove. I'm going to cover this up and not open it for 30 minutes. I've got the matzo balls simmering away, so in the meantime, I am going to take our chicken stock that we made out of our roast chicken leftovers. There is about 64 ounces, so if you don't have homemade stock and you want to make matzo ball soup, go ahead and buy 2 32-ounce containers of chicken stock and you're good to go. So anyway, we have our chicken stock up to a boil. I'm actually going to add in all my veggies at the same time because we want this to kind of finish the same time that our matzo balls are ready. Just going to give this a little stir. I'm going to cover this up and bring it down to a medium-low heat, and that is going to cook for 30 minutes as well. All right, it has been about 20 minutes, so I've uncovered our stock. I'm actually going to turn off the heat, and I'm going to add in our shredded chicken and give this a little stir. And then I'm going to add in our matzo balls. Our matzahs look gorgeous. I'm going to turn off the heat and remove them with a slotted spoon. Let them drain a little bit. I'm going to put them straight into our soup. That's what we're looking at right now. Okay. In we go. I used to cook my matzo balls inside of my chicken stock and veggie base, but I stopped doing that because it tended to kind of soak up a lot of the liquid, as well as it made the soup a little bit salty. So I actually prefer using this method with cooking it in lightly salted water and then transferring it to the soup when they're done. Because right from here, we can just dish up and eat, which we're about to do. Last one. All right, there we go. And now I am going to dish up. It is time for the money shot, and I am hungry. All right, let's check these babies out. nice and fluffy. I'm ready to dig in. Don't know if you can see that very well. These came out really nice, and I hope you try out this recipe. Thanks so much for watching. Until we eat again, aloha!